What I want to do is I want to pull up this Path of Exile 2 gameplay. This is on IGN's page here. 7 minutes of Warrior and Huntress gameplay. So saw Druid last time, so let's look at the Warrior.
Show you another island, I guess.
What class is this?
This is the Warrior.
Okay.
This is your
Warrior.
sort of like quintessential slamming guy, and I'll show you a few of the interactions between the different.
Do I dare say the other game? Is it similar to a B word character?
I mean, I guess. I guess so. But what's an area we haven't shown much? Maybe Journey's End. There you go. Let's have a look at Journey's End. I'm not sure what's sort of appeared on streams and things like that, and what hasn't. So,
Oh no.
Anyway, so right. So I guess one of the things we really want to make sure of with the Warrior is that all of our melee skills kind of have a lot of mobility. So it's kind of like a basic attack. You've got like this kind of thing. Like in PoE 1, this would be like stand and do something. In PoE 2, it involves a lot of mobility. And the other thing, of course, is just like we were talking about on the Druid, is all the combo type stuff. So on the Warrior, one of the really nice combos to use is Armor Break. So what I can do here is when I hit monsters,
Like a giant hammer.
It breaks their armor. But then that is used when you. Sorry, managed to run away from.
Guys, Armor Break breaks their armor.
Okay. When you and so when you attack them when they've got their armor, obviously you're going to do a lot more damage. That's like really like the simplest level.
It's like defense
and
down.
then the other thing that you can do is that some of the other skills that we have things that affect armor breaks. They often remove armor break and do something else. So this guy has armor broken right now, and then if I use Leap Slam, okay, somehow I managed to not trigger that, there's a very high chance to do a heavy stun. Apparently, though, that didn't seem to work for that guy, so I don't know what
You didn't get the very high chance to stun him.
It's a very high chance to heavy stun, there we go. And that means that you can follow up with something that's much more slow. So an example of that kind of thing is we have a thing called Supercharged Slam.
For me, the thing that matters the most with like this type of content is it needs to feel impactful when you're a warrior. Like the actual slam of the weapon is the part that matters the most for warriors. So if when you're swinging your sword, you don't feel it, like the character is going to feel like trash. That's kind of like, I liked Whirlwind, but Whirlwind also kind of always felt to me not like super impactful. It kind of felt like I was just moving through things, where it's like Hammer of the Ancients, for instance, from Diablo 4, like you get this big smack that feels satisfying. So I think like the satisfying thunk of the warrior's weapons are quite important for this. Like I like the Lost Ark Berserker, I think it was called, that I played. It was like the main class I played, because that class, when I was actually attacking, I kind of felt like I was actually swinging like a big sword. I know it's a dumb point, but like literally I think it matters.
Throw a bunch of rocks on your weapon and slam them. So if you just use it like a very short amount of time, you get like 2 slams. But the longer you hold it down, the more rocks gather up.
Oh, that's
eventually
cool.
you can do
like
a ridiculous number of slams. So you want to be able to try and stun monsters, ideally, to be able to get that. So getting that, getting the Leap Slam, and then getting the Supercharged Slam is a good way to kill monsters. It probably wasn't worthwhile on these like random white monsters, but on a rare, it matters a lot. The other thing you can do is Sunder. So if you Sunder on an armor broken enemy, so I'll just talk about, so Sunder, when you normally use it, it basically is a very slow attack that does this like attacks on a line. And it's actually most useful when you have lots of monsters, because every time it hits a monster, it does a little ripple of damage. So if you use it on one monster, it's actually quite weak. But if you use it on a whole pack of monsters, then because the damage overlaps between each, everything, I'll just gather a bunch here, it absolutely annihilates them. And so this is a useful interaction. But
it's like Shield Crush.
If you armor break one of the monsters, then Sunder does 500% damage to that monster. And also, it does 500% damage to all the monsters that get, like from the little wave from those monsters as well. So that means that Armor Break Sunder can be a really usul way to do that. Another one we have here is a Warcry skill, so I'm going to use Infernal Cry. So Infernal Cry puts this little thing on the monsters, and then when you kill them, it causes them to explode, dealing damage to nearby monsters. So it's another kind of good pack clearer. But the other thing that it does is it gives you an exerted attack, which means that your next slam skill is going to do
doing like no damage,
a lot of extra fire damage. So a good thing to do is to armor break the monster, get the Leap Slam on that monster to stun them, although apparently once again that monster seems to be broken in this regard, which is very annoying, so I'm just going to move on. Get the Leap Slam on the monster, and then do the yell to get the exert, and then do the Supercharged Slam to get a lot of damage on them. So that kind of combo is what you'd be wanting to use if you're fighting a boss, and it's something that can really can really help. So yeah, exactly. So you've got to, I guess a philosophy you would say in PoE too is that you really have to earn your single target damage. It's not just a question of like, here's a single target skill, just use it. You really have to like earn that single target by doing a combination of things. And if you do that, you'll be rewarded by getting a lot more damage in a situation like that. So yeah, that's sort of some of the stuff you can do on the Marauder. Sorry, I should know, not Marauder, the Warrior. I've got 2 classes for each of the combinations, and yeah, hopefully that's very interesting. One of the things that I like the most is on the Huntress is a skill called Whirling Slash.
Okay, so now we get
so
the
design of this
Ranger.
is basically-
I'm
this
going
is
to be
just
honest, the
really
Warrior looked kind of boring. It kind of looked like slow, big hammer stuff. I wasn't really super hyped about it.
So I can just practice here without any monsters attacking me. But when you use this, it creates this little like whirling storm around you. And the more you use it, the larger the storm gets. And when you exit the storm, it explodes. So it's kind of like a really
but
nice
then again,
single
we're coming
target.
off the back of like the Druid. Like the Druid was super hype, and it had like this volcano and lightning and bear form, and it had all these complicated mechanics, and they explained it well. This one was basically like, yeah, you break their armor, and then you do an AOE. It's kind of like, okay, well.
Not single target. It's a really nice area of effect thing that you can use to kill a whole bunch of monsters. So that's kind of like a non-obvious one as well. So like I can use dodge roll to get out of it, but there's actually more things you can use. For example, if I use this here, I've got a skill here which like makes your character run maybe you didn't quite see that, like do like a slash back, and which also traps monsters. So you want to kind of like whirling slash, and then get out of there with that one. And then once you're out of there, then you can start throwing the your spears from range.
The electric spear looks pretty
another one that's really
badass.
useful for the Huntress is the spear field. So when you use this, probably not that useful against zombies because they move so slowly anyway. But you create a field of spears and they slow down monsters. So if you've got a lot of fast monsters around, then that's a really handy one. And then the other one that's kind of useful is puncture. So puncture can be useful for moving from one pack to the other. If I make this thing here, well, there's no other monsters nearby, so that's unfortunate. But effectively, it's a skill that lets you teleport towards monsters.
This character
like
looks way more fun
the
than
further away
than
you are when
Warrior.
you use it, the more that you're going to bleed. So the more that you're going to bleed them. So it can be quite handy to use, depending on the situation. So maybe if I'll sort of do this. So I'm going to create a whirling slash here. I'm going to go out of there, that traps them in, but I can go back in with the puncture.
Just about
bleed,
died. Holy moly.
And then follow up with my more single target rapid assault skill, which has a
Okay, that's kind of badass.
damage thing there. So this guy's moving pretty fast, so I'll use Spear Field to slow him down a little bit. And then I can pre-prepare my Whirling Slash before he arrives. And then maybe like get them back like this, and then go back into the puncture, this kind of thing. So there's a lot of mobility to combat that you can achieve if you kind of know what you're doing, which I honestly don't really that much.
Seems like
compared to
decent
some people on the
mobility.
team.
Yeah.
So I haven't done too much practice on this class. But the skill ceiling for PoE2 can be quite a lot higher because of the fact that there's a lot more of the sort of action combat stuff that you can do. So we only put like a few skills in there, and this is also Act 2, so you don't have that many more skills compared to what you would have later on. But I guess that's it there, just sort of enough to show you, at least some of the basic stuff that you can do as a Huntress. We do have a lot of.
Okay, well,
other,
I'm definitely still going
elemental,
Druid over either of these
elemental spear
classes, I'll be
attacks,
honest.
like a lot of different throws. But this class, what it's kind of really about is sort of going into and out of combat a lot. Like you charge in, you jump out, like this kind of thing. And then you've got stuff that you can do from range. You've got stuff you can do from close. It's really about exploring that that sort of in and out kind of thing that it's got going on. That's kind of the main thing that the Huntress is about.
Okay, so we didn't get like a lot of footage. The one thing I'll say is the Warrior looked impactful. Like the abilities itself looked like fairly impactful. So if it looked like it would feel strong, but kind of looked a little boring to play, honestly. The Huntress looked like way more mobile, like faster pace. So I think people probably like the Huntress better. But I don't know. I think I'm going to play the Druid. I don't think either of those look like something I would want to play.